WFH is not a substitute for childcare. It must be a requirement in the job listings for manager positions to be a hypocrite. The managers at my company are infamous for going on shopping sprees, to the gym, or hanging out in their backyards with their company phones next to them so they can pretend they're working. We hear their kids running around the house during meetings. They reminisce on the times when we worked in the office and they brought their kids to work with them. But when it comes to those of us below them, they have no grace for parents with small children. It's in our employee WFH agreement that WFH is not a substitute for childcare. You aren't required to have outside childcare, but there must be someone else at home to take care of your child so you aren't distracted from your work. The managers in my department sent out a mass email to remind us of that this week because of things they've seen recently that concern them. Editing this to take out the part about people not being able to afford childcare because for some reason some of y'all are missing the point. It's about hypocritical upper management more than anything else. Next time you see your manager's kids, forward their email about the policy to their boss and state what you saw. Live by the sword. Die by the sword. My luck is shit. I never go out while working from home because I know I'll end up getting caught. The rules have never and will never apply equally across the board. There are people who will be treated preferentially for no reason other than their mere existence. So I see this pretty often and hear about it a lot via Reddit. What I noticed is that managers feel like they made it, while you, the worker, hasn't earned the perks they have. You still have to grind and live in misery because fuck you. Why do they feel like they have to own every one of your seconds? Is getting the work done on time not enough that they can't bear the thought that you might help your kids with lunch or a short visit during your WFH job? Though there are people out there who see having a window in your office as an upper management perk instead of, a healthy way to light an office for free. It's Boomer and Gen X managers. Millennial managers don't care as long as your work gets done. It's reasonable to expect people to devote their attention to work while they are supposed to be working. If your kids interrupt calls or they're making noise in the background, as a colleague, I'm going to feel like my time is being pretty fucking disrespected. However, bosses should have to follow the same rules. The only kids I ever hear or see on calls belong to my bosses. These issues apply WFH or work in the office. My job and most have a policy like it has an age limit of 8. Under 8 they have you have childcare. I do not follow it and keep my 1-year-old at home. My job does not have my on-calls though, so it works out. I'm careful to arrange childcare when I do have a meeting or have to go to the office in person for whatever reason. Just wait until work tries to lower your pay because of the money you're saving in daycare by them graciously allowing you to work from home. Oh, it's not a substitute for childcare, it's an alternative. I agree. I don't use it as a substitute for childcare. I don't need childcare services since my kids are home. I had one boss bitch about this. I responded with, "Is my child here? Can you see them? Hear them? Are you watching cameras in my home? Are children making noise in my calls? Meetings? The onus of proof is on you that I have children in my home interfering with my ability to do my job." WFH does help with the childcare problem, but they should compensate accordingly for it if they want the undivided attention of employees with children. Sorry, it's necessary if they insist on it. Some companies used to have employee daycare in their buildings as a perk with flex time. My job fired a bunch of temps last year because you could hear their screaming kids in the background during meetings. I mean, it's not. If you're paid for 8 hours work, you should work 8 hours. Your asshole managers should do the same. At my last company this was the case, but it was for a reason. Most employees were on phone calls with customers all day. Children in the background of those calls was unprofessional and made customers uncomfortable. I'd be hesitant to give out credit card information or private details if I heard ransoms in the background too. Upper management did not interact directly with our customer base. Thus, them having children in the background during Zoom calls with each other or their subordinates wasn't really an issue. I agree that it's unfair that CEOs and high-level management seemingly get to do what they want. But I don't think that it's unfair for a company to tell you not to be parenting during work hours. You're getting paid to work. Whether at home or the office. You need to get childcare. Full stop. I mean, if people do their job well, then who cares if they're in the office or not, or if they give their kids snacks during breaks, or walk their dogs, or listen to their coworker Susan go on about her divorce. At times my child is home with me because my working hours can be before school starts or after it ends. Childcare options are a joke and expensive. Unfortunately, it is what it is. If you want to bash someone, then bash your politicians for not addressing the childcare problem. Your rant is misplaced. I have a coworker that literally takes care of his kids at the same time he's in meetings, and none of us care. We even know the kids' names and say hi to them. Like he's a father who works from home and one of his kids has an autoimmune disease. He can watch his kids and work just as effectively at the same time. The people that pretend to be working when they have babies and small children home are ruining it for the rest of us. Older kids can be managed, but no way can or should anyone be working and trying to take care of a baby or toddler. I get it, but my coworker disappears for 10-min stretches for childcare and I'm sick of it. No one does anything about it. It's literally constant. I'm doing both our jobs for one wage. I get needing to supervise your kids. I really do. But if it's to the extent you physically cannot be at your desk, then you need to hire someone or get a relative over. Please. I gotta say, I can always tell when my coworkers with kids are WFH with no babysitter. It's a noticeable loss of productivity. I work on a team where the output really is a group effort. So it doesn't just affect management. Same. Never applies to supervisors or managers. I figure, why try to beat them, join them? It's not fair. It never will be. I'd ignore them. A single person working should be enough to provide for the family. They made it so that even two people working sometimes struggle to make ends meet. It's a disgrace. The modern world is a scam. So I'd scam it back. At my last call center, we would hear babies on the recordings all the time. Moms would have them in their laps. Counterpoint to management: eat shit. Gonna be honest, as a pro-WFH person, people with kids are just generally working less and around less often when you need to speak to them. I don't have kids and I constantly feel like I'm pulling other people's weight because I'm not running around all day doing kid errands. I'm just kind of done pretending that it's fair. I want more social programs so people can afford these things. But doing childcare on the clock and making up the time later just screws your coworkers. Did you ask them how they plan to pay for everyone's childcare? My colleague is currently WFH with a 1-year-old due to their childcare parents being on holiday. She can't get anything done. There are definite limits, and I do feel sorry for honest and good managers trying to deal with these situations. No wonder this country is heading towards demographic collapse, to be said out loud near managers who pay too little for humans to raise children to adulthood.